What's going on, guys? This is Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ back in for another great episode. Today's episode, we are talking a late round QB strategy that some people sometimes mess up when they do wait for that quarterback. They don't really have, what they have in mind when they're looking for a quarterback in the late round. It's kind of like, let me get, whoever's there in the late round and let me get the best available QB there. But sometimes people hit the panic button when it comes to these big names like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, the big names that have fantasy, value somewhat, but they're being drafted earlier with the top guys that we know are the tier one quarterbacks. They're being drafted with guys who produce week to week in fantasy. Like these guys, in reality, their value is skyrocket. Their legacy, what they do, game the game, to win the game, to win championships. But for fantasy, what does their name really hold weight in the fantasy world, not in, reality football? So that's today when we're going to be addressing some of the big names that we see in the later rounds that we think we're getting great value, or these guys are going in higher rounds where they shouldn't be going at all. So we'll cover a little bit of that today. So I hope you guys enjoy the episode. So let's get right into the episode. So I'm going to start off with Aaron Rodgers since I mentioned his name before. He's another big name where we see him go in higher rounds. Like we see him go in rounds with Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, and even some rounds that we have seen him creep up into the third or even the fourth round where, the Patty Mahomes were going, Lamar Jackson, in those higher rounds. And it's only because of his big name of what we think that Aaron Rodgers will bring to the table. Now, their offense, the Packers' offense is, great. It's good. And the reality power rankings in the offense, they're pretty up there. They ranked 6th last year, and every year they seem to be a top 10 offense. And Aaron Rodgers, seems to be that high caliber quarterback that the Packers believe that they have. But when it comes to fantasy football, Aaron Rodgers doesn't produce that week-to-week stats that we would like out of him. He's not putting up, the QB1, the one overall quarterback when it comes to rankings anymore. And this could be due to the lack of talent that's around him and the previous injuries that he's had, with his history. So I think that if you're going to wait on a QB, if you're going to be the guy that even drafts Aaron Rodgers or these big-name quarterbacks, you have to take in consideration he's not a week-to-week quarterback that's going to be putting up 20 points. He's not going to be the quarterback that you're going to be relying on to put up 30 points every week like a Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. Now, those two, they also have mobility. So, therefore, the recent years we've seen Aaron Rodgers run the ball less. So, he's not going outside the pocket as much, being that the injuries he's had. He's taken a step back in rankings for the last 3 years if we take a look at that. So, it's something to consider when you're going to wait on a quarterback. Wait on the right guy. I mean, there's guys like Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, guys like that are going way later than Aaron Rodgers, but yet they're still being drafted, as like they're not the true QB ones that can lead you week to week, with fantasy points. So again, Aaron Rodgers' big name sells. Like his reality football play, phenomenal. What he's achieved, phenomenal. But it's a matter of what he brings to the table to your roster week to week. It's not 20 points a week. That is like the minimum that I need for my quarterback to consistently do. And we cannot get that out of Aaron Rodgers. Now, it could be with Father Time catching up to him. He is getting older, and it's like this happens to, our great quarterbacks. So I do believe there is turmoil in the organization with them taking Jordan Love. I think there's some type of resentment. There's something going on there that we don't know as fans, as the fantasy community. We don't know what's going on there exactly with the Packers. So I can say that I don't see Aaron Rodgers finishing his career in Green Bay. I feel like he's going to be on the move, if not next year, then maybe the year after that. It's going to happen. So I don't know much what we can get out of Aaron Rodgers these next few years, but I know for this season, I'm not going to draft him just because his name sells. I'm not going to draft him in the 6th round or the 5th round just because I need a quarterback. And there's people that have the late quarterback strategy where they bring home the gold when they wait on a quarterback. But I feel like with guys like that have Aaron Rodgers as their QB1 week to week, they don't really set themselves up to have that opportunity to make a playoff run or actually win the championship. Because again, you got to understand with Aaron Rodgers. He is a producer in big games. You know what I mean? Like I said, his reality football, like the way he is set up for success is great, but he hasn't had a number one, like clear, like a top 3, a top 5 year as in QB1 in a while now. And this could be with the lack of personnel around him, the lack of like talent. Like once upon a time, he had Jordy Nelson. He had slim Eddie Lacy. He had a very young Devontae Adams. He had Randall Cobb in the slot. That's when we seen Aaron Rodgers be Aaron Rodgers, where he was the first quarterback off the board. Now times have changed. Injuries have happened. And I think everybody is still addressing Aaron Rodgers as that guy when he had that setup, when he had that supporting cast. Now it's like year after year, it's getting trimmed down. They did not take a wide receiver in this draft. They're leaving, everything to Devontae Adams, and hopefully that this guy Lazard, steps up and beats the number 2. I mean, Marquise Scantling, it was like hit or miss there. He was dealing with injury. Allison, it was like, not really shaping up to be. So they thought they had the talent that they can have on that offense, but they still managed to be a top 6 offense. So in the power rankings, the Packers are still a very good team. That offense is still moving. But again, when it comes to fantasy week to week, Aaron Rodgers does not seem like to be the guy that I want to take in a 5th or 6th round to be my QB1. It just doesn't sit well with me. So also with the mainstream media, like with the ADPs, let's address that there. Every year, Aaron Rodgers' ADP is so high that it just doesn't make sense. Again, that's with them selling the name. Like his ADP last year was 6th round value. Meanwhile, Dak, Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, guys like that are still going later or way later than the 6th round. So it's like, how does this even happen? Again, the big name sells. And again, I need a guy's at least between 20 to 25 points when it comes to, my weekly, expectations for my QB1. And guys like Winston were being drafted way later than Aaron Rodgers. Same thing in 2018. He had a 3rd round value. His ADP was 3rd round. And what did we get out of Aaron Rodgers in 2018? Not that much. We had guys like Jared Goff that outperformed him. Big Ben outperformed him. Like Watson outperformed him, who was going in later rounds than that. And still, we still have this pedestal where we put Aaron Rodgers, being that his football legacy cannot be touched. He's great. He's a great quarterback. Some people say he's overrated, but I think he's still a great quarterback. He can produce to win games. But when it comes to fantasy, I'm not too sold on Aaron Rodgers being my QB1, believe it or not. Like this year, I'll take a Kyler. I will take a Deshaun Watson, even he doesn't have D-Hop. I will take these other QBs that are going way later that I don't have to draft that high in investment. Now, if you're a guy, again, who's going to wait on a quarterback who thinks that this theory will work, 9 times out of 10, I feel like Aaron Rodgers is not going to be there waiting for you in the late rounds. And if he is, I still wouldn't take him. He would not be my guy, in the 8th round that I would get, or the 9th round if he's still there, which I don't think he will fall that far because, again, his name still sells. His name still holds some type of value. But what I'm getting at, if you're going to be the guy to wait the late rounds, look at some of these other guys that are producing more than 20 points week to week. Aaron Rodgers last year only had 4 20-point games, 4 out of the entire season. So does that sound like a QB1 who's going to be bringing home the gold, people? It does not. So don't try to get, caught up in, Aaron Rodgers still on the board. He could be my QB1. Bam, go get him. Meanwhile, Kyler, Dak, Josh Allen, all these other people are still on the board for you that will produce more points than him come the end of the fantasy season. So it's not like the Packers offense got any better at all, maybe with A.J. Dillon in addition in the running game, but they did not get better at all. I'll say about 85% of it, they did not get better. You know what I mean? When they came out of that draft. So nothing's really changing from last year's how he finished to this year that he's probably going to finish as well. So I don't want you guys paying too much attention to his ADP. I don't want you thinking his name still holds some type of weight in fantasy world, because if you look at the stats, it really don't. You know what I mean? He's still a top 10, a top 15 quarterback. That's where I place him at. So it's like, I really need a guy that's going to at least be a top 7 or a top 5 quarterback week to week, to where I can have that opportunity, that chance to make a playoff run, to bring home the gold. If I have guys go out with injury, if I just didn't draft correctly, with my running backs or my wide receivers, whatever the case may be. I still want my quarterback to be the captain of that team to be able to bring home, at least 20 to 25 points. I don't want Aaron Rodgers putting up 11 points and it's like, what the hell? Then the next week he puts up 9 points. And then the week after that, he puts up 14 points. Cool. I don't need that from a quarterback that has this high caliber name where my draft investment is in the 6th round or even the 3rd round, like 2018. It just doesn't sit well for me. So he's a guy that I'm going to avoid. I don't really want the headache with Aaron Rodgers week to week, being that he's getting older now. He's 36 years old, I believe. He's getting older now, and the offense didn't get any better. He's getting frustrated. There's a lot of things going on in the background with the politics and them drafting Jordan Love and all this other stuff. I don't need the headache. I don't need, the constant question if he's a clear start and forget Sunday. So Aaron Rodgers is a guy that I'm probably just going to avoid altogether, probably for the rest of his career, to be honest. I mean, we don't know how much is left in the tank for him in Green Bay, but, if he goes somewhere else, then maybe we'll take a shot. We'll see what that situation looks like, what his supporting cast is. But with this supporting cast, I'm not banking on, Aaron Rodgers bringing up, a lot of points week to week to bring home the gold, people. So that's all I got for Aaron Rodgers. So this next guy, which is crazy, and I like to call it the Matt Ryan curse. Now, Matt Ryan is a very attractive pick in those later rounds if you know what year you're getting Matt Ryan. He has this hot and cold situation he has been going on since 2012. Look at the stats, look at his ADPs, look at his rankings year after year after year. In 2012, that's when this all started. So the constant personnel changes, the constant, with the coaching, how they want to run the systems and their difficulties to scoring in the red zone, all this stuff happens every other year. It's either he's hot or he's cold. Now, again, if you look at the stats, it's not like when I say he's cold, he does terrible. You know what I mean? He still finishes top 15. I got him in between, 11th and 15th QBs, like QB 15 or QB 11. So it's like he's really hot. Or then when he's really hot, he's putting up top 7, top 5 quarterback numbers week to week. So it's like it's crazy. You just have to know when to get Matt Ryan. And this year, it's lined up for him to have a hot year, for him to be, a top 7 quarterback, to be putting up crazy numbers. I mean, 2017, he had 11 games above 20 to 25 points. That I can take care of, that I can get. Meanwhile, he's going in the later rounds that year. He does that. But the next year, this is what happens with his ADP. His ADP will jump. It will skyrocket to like the 6th round and then the 5th round. And then it's like, you'll get that cold year, and then now he plays nothing like a 5th round investment quarterback. So it's a constant back and forth, back and forth. I think he does it on purpose. I don't know. Maybe he's betting on himself, trying to get some money on the side. I do not know what it is with Matt Ryan, but it's a constant headache. So when he's bad, he's really bad. And then, when it comes to week-to-week points. Now, when he's hot, you want Matt Ryan. You want all parts. You want all smoke with Matt Ryan. So what I'm getting at, he's another late round guy that ends up creeping, year after year. It's not that he has the big name tag next to him. It's really, the organization he's in, the system he's in, the, Julio Jones, being his number 1 target. So we think and expect Matt Ryan to perform at those high caliber, QB1 numbers. But then again, you got to know what year you're getting Matt Ryan. So listen to this. Last season, he finished 11th. Which was somewhat, out of the usual, but still usual in some type of way, which I still count as a cold year. He wasn't top 10. So when he is hot, it's either he finishes top 8 or a little bit, closer to that. And he's really good. He puts up a lot of points week to week. So if you notice, it's like, it's how I feel is like, if I say it out loud, if I notice something, like now he's set to have a hot year, I feel like it's not going to happen now. I feel like he's going to go back-to-back cold years now, being that I said it out loud, being that I noticed it. I'm not saying I was the first person to notice this. I'm just saying for me to say it out loud, I feel like now if I go get a Matt Ryan come draft day, it's not going to work out how I think it's going to work out, to where I think he's going to produce week to week. So This is why I call it the Matt Ryan curse. So I don't know how he feels like he wants to play this year. Does he want to play really good? Does he want to play really bad? So do you want that headache for, come weekend? I mean, come the games, come Sunday, start and forget? I don't think that happens. I don't know. I don't want to take that gamble on a Matt Ryan, especially with his ADP hot and cold every year, where people are reaching as far as the 5th round to go get him. So I don't know what league you're in or your league mates, their habits, their tendencies. I don't know if anybody else in your league knows that he's on a hot and cold schedule and that he's basically the Matt Ryan curse. But I don't know if you should be targeting Matt Ryan at all. You know what I mean? I feel like his ADP this year should be around the 8th round, which is fair. He still is on I'll say a fairly good offense with a fairly good weapons. Ty Gurley's there now. So Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, they still should be firing all cylinders. And I feel like the offense is set up for success, but is Matt Ryan going to be the QB1 that you believe he could be? Being that, the recent years we've seen hot, cold, or whatever the case may be. But when he's good, when he's hot, you really want every part of Matt Ryan, especially in that playoff run. So I definitely think he's an attractive pick in the late round. You think you're getting great value. You're getting, Jones's guy, and it's like, I don't know yet. I don't want that headache week to week. How do you guys feel about Matt Ryan? I legit want to know in this video below the comments if you notice the hot and cold treatment he's been giving us, and if you guys are taking a gamble. He's the one question mark I just don't know, like, solid if I would take him in the late rounds. It's like I said, it's not like he has like this, big name attached to him where, he's attracting a lot of traffic of people wanting to get him. But I just don't know if I want to be that guy to have that late round strategy behind me to where I think I'm going to get great value in him in the later rounds, and I come out as a winner with great value, and then I get burned on it. You know what I mean? So it's all a matter if he wants to play this year, basically, if he's going to be hot. And like I said, being that I said it out loud, that, I noticed it, and I feel like he's going to burn me. He's going to have a cold year back-to-back, and then, there was the Matt Ryan curse. He's broken it, since 2012. It's crazy. I mean, if you don't believe me, go to the Sleeper app and go to, his rankings year after year. It's insane. It's literally hot, cold, cold. And it's just, he has to be doing it on purpose. I feel like he is. But come draft day, I will have to really think about it. But if draft day was today, I'm going to say hard pass. I'm not even trying to get in parts with Matt Ryan, and I'll look elsewhere. I'll look elsewhere for guys that are going later than him, or I'll be the smart guy to actually grab a quarterback, in the early rounds with a Patty Mahomes investment, or Lamar Jackson, or Russell Wilson, or et cetera. You know what I mean? So maybe I'll just address my QB situation early, so I don't have to worry about in the later rounds if I'm getting a hot or cold guy. So that's my take on Matt Ryan. I definitely want to know how you guys feel about Matt Ryan. Leave a comment below ASAP. The next guy that holds the most weight with this big name title in fantasy football is Tom Brady. Going on year 20 at the age of 42 in a new situation in Tampa. He gets his guy Gronk. He has Chris Godwin, he has Mike Evans, Keyshawn Vaughn. He has a stellar offense. He has what he never had in New England. I'm not going to say never. He hasn't had it in a while. Let's put it like that. But the biggest mistake I see a lot of guys do in my league, I'm going to talk personally from my league, the leagues that I've been in, is that they hit this huge panic button when they forget to get a QB, or they miss out, they're sniped, or whatever the situation is. And you'll even get guys that have this late round, QB strategy or whatever the case may be, but they always panic. As soon as they see Tom Brady on the board, it's like, whoa, I got to get him. I got to get him right now. 5th round, 6th round, 7th round. Doesn't even matter. It's like he's going way, way too high. And I feel like with this year, he's going into a new situation. I'll say better situation, but it's still a question mark. This is the same thing we thought with the Browns when they got Odell Beckham and they had Jarvis on the other side, Baker Mayfield, Kitchens, being the head coach now, and all this crap that we thought was going to work out for the Browns, and it did not work out. They were the paper champs. And I feel like this is what's happening. It's like Tom Brady's there. Yes, great, cool. His legacy cannot be touched. Champion, winner, all of the above. But when it comes to fantasy, it's kind of hard to think Tom Brady's worth a QB1 in the 5th round that some people are getting. Like, we're not getting GOAT numbers from the GOAT. You know what I mean? We're getting like mid-tier. We're getting like really bad numbers week to week when it comes to Tom Brady. Again, you guys can say it was like he didn't have a top wide receiver. He only had Edelman, and he didn't have Gronk last year. He didn't have this. He didn't have that. Sony Michel's always hurt. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. You got that. But you know what I mean? We don't know what's going to happen in Tampa. So I don't want Tom Brady to be just climbing up in draft boards, thinking that you're getting such a great value. And like I said, it's really the panic button that people hit with his big name. Like, I'm not attracted to big names at all. You know what I mean? If I get a quarterback, he's going to be able to produce, like I said before, 20 to 25 points week to week. If he does more than that, great, cool, excellent, thank you. Cool, full send. But the big names don't really, attract me when it comes to this fantasy shit, because like they don't really put up big numbers. Like, I think Tom Brady is 11th round or 12th round quarterback that you should be getting. I mean, if you're going to have that late round strategy, you better be stacked up on running backs, wide receivers, or straight studs. You know what I mean? And a stud tight end or 2 tight ends that are going to be producing week to week for you between that, 10 to 15 points a week. But I don't see how I see Tom Brady sometimes go in the 5th round, go in the 6th round, 7th round. I think that's way too high for a Tom Brady, who's not really, a quarterback that's going to give you those elite points week to week. So, yes, you can preach that he's in Tampa. Yes, you can preach he has all these weapons around. Show me before I go investing in you. I don't want to go invest on the guy where there's a question mark. I don't draft like that. I don't like that. I win the belts. I win the championships because I don't draft like that. You know what I mean? Like I said, you don't win in the draft. You win throughout the season of in-season management, but I'll put this on video now. Everybody that's been in the league with me, I never miss playoffs. Never, ever. I never miss playoffs. I bring home gold sometimes, but I'm not going to say I'm this big fantasy guru, but this should be common sense when it comes to drafting. It should be common sense to fantasy. The big names usually don't produce as much as you want them to. So unless you're okay with having a guy that doesn't give you 20 points a week, then fine, full send, take your guy. Be a Tom Brady fan or be a Patriots fan, because a lot of Patriots fans, they take Tom Brady year after year, knowing damn well he's not going to get you 20-something points or even the elite tier 1 points that we want out of him. Yeah, he'll get a game or two. Yeah, cool, great. Can he do this week to week? Can he average at least 25 points a week? Can he average anything close to 20 points a week? No, I don't think he can. And it might be, Father Time coming in. He's 42 years old. We're not ever going to see Tom Brady ever run out of the pocket. So it's like that's been out of his game the 20 years he's been in the game. He's not a runner, so he can't give you those extra points with yards. So I feel like you have to understand with Tom Brady, he's not going to give you interceptions. I'll give you that. He led the league last season with the most throwaways, so shout out to him. I mean, maybe if Winston did that, he wouldn't have 30 interceptions. He'll still be on the team, but whatever. That's another subject. But I feel like with that panic button that you guys get, or my league mates get, I should say, it just doesn't make sense. Analyze the situation, see who else is still on the board, because I'm pretty sure all these other like underrated quarterbacks that I keep naming, like they're going to be available for you. Like they're going to be there. They're going to be there, be able to produce the 20 points a week, produce 20 to 25 points a week. They're going to give you more points than a Tom Brady. And I feel like his weight with his name doesn't really hold well in fantasy. And that's where Aaron Rodgers falls into place. You know what I mean? Give me a Drew Brees. He's a little bit in the middle, undervalued, overvalued, but give me a Drew Brees over Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady any day, every day. Being that we've seen those elite weeks. Last season he dealt with injury. He kind of hurt some people with their chances, going into playoffs, with all those losses to begin with. But again, that's just terrible, in-season management. And they probably fucked up their draft. But that's a different conversation in itself. But I feel like these big names, I'm not too attracted to. So with the late round strategy, you guys have to look at the situation, look who's still on the board, and don't be so quick to jump on these big names and panic and like, oh shit, who else? Oh, I don't know this guy. I don't watch any, Bills games. I don't know what Josh Allen does. Well, look at their stats, buddy. Have that cheat sheet with you come draft day. Have, the time and breakdown. Don't be waiting until it's your pick, just to start researching shit. Be on top of your shit. I mean, that's a whole nother video itself of how you draft prep, you know what I mean? And I feel like that you should know by now if you're a seasoned veteran, fantasy player, and some my league mates or my channel mates will tell you, like, you got to prep. You got to research. You can't go in blind. You're not going to bring home the gold doing any of that shit. You know what I mean? So that's a whole nother video in itself. But all I'm saying, all I want for you to get out of this video is not be too attracted to the big names if you're going with the late round strategy, QB strategy. And the guys with the question marks, like the guys with the curse, like Matt Ryan, I don't know. Big question mark on Matt Ryan. That's all I want for you guys to get out of this video, because I keep seeing year after year, these three guys, their ADPs just shoot up for some odd reason, and they never play at that ADP. They never play with that draft investment. Never, ever. They never play at that draft investment. So when it comes to QB, it's very crucial, because how it should be. Well, in most leagues, I do a redraft PPR. We only need one quarterback, really. We don't do like 2 QB leagues or super flex where you can put a QB in. We're old school. We're classic. We're cavemen with the PPR. So I feel like you only need one quarterback. So why not take that investment in a Russell Wilson or a Deshaun Watson or even a Patty Mahomes? Like, it might feel funny. It might feel weird for some of you guys who haven't, invested that high in a second or third round for a quarterback, but maybe invest in a Lamar Jackson, because he gives you that dual threat. He gives you, the rushing yards, and he's slinging the ball out of the pocket. He gives you that dual threat. So why not go ahead and get a mobile quarterback? And if you can't get, this is a secret, breaking news, if you cannot get a Lamar Jackson or a Patty Mahomes, go ahead and get a Josh Allen. He's actually has more rushing touchdowns than Lamar Jackson. So look that up. That's a little best kept secret. So if you miss on the two, big names with the mobility and, they're able to get the rushing yards, Josh Allen's sitting right there for you. You know what I mean? I don't think he's climbing up in much draft boards. He's going in the, 7th, 8th round, but he might climb up as soon as we get closer to draft day. So I feel like he's another option you can get that has that dual threat. But I will say this, Josh Allen does scare the shit out of me the way he plays. He plays very dangerous. He plays very I would say RG3 like. He needs to protect himself better. You know what I mean? I don't think he should be putting it all on the line the way he plays like that. But we'll soon find out, what happens with that. But I still like his chances. He's a tough kid. He's taking some licks, he's taking some big hits, and he's still out there crunching and rolling them, rocking. So I'm gonna ride that train until it falls off the tracks. But Josh Allen is a very attractive option that you can get that gives you that dual threat as well, especially with a fresh chip on his shoulder. It's Stephon Diggs there. I think he could build something special there, and he managed to still be very productive week to week with a Cole Beasley and a John Brown. So come on now, Josh Allen's definitely one of the guys that if you're gonna wait, you wait for a guy like that. But closer we get to draft day, I'm sure his ADP will jump up. I'm sure the buzz about him will jump up from the mainstream media and, everybody else that wants to talk football and not, copy and paste everybody else's shit. But that's another thing. But, yeah, like I said, all I want for you guys to get out of this really is just be cautious, be knowledgeable, do your research. Don't be attracted by the big names. Don't panic or anything like that. If you're going to wait on a guy that you really know that has that production week to week that will see those 20 to 25 points. That's my sweet spot with quarterbacks, if you haven't tell. I won a couple of leagues where my 2 quarterbacks were mid. I had Kirk Cousins, I had Phillip Rivers. I still brought home the gold that year because they were able to produce somewhat between that 20, 25 points. Now, I won't say that that's a every year strategy, but it worked out for me. You know what I mean? I didn't get the big names. I saw a lot of teams that didn't make playoffs with Aaron Rodgers on the roster or even a Tom Brady. So there's that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I did a little bit of rambling. I didn't even really read any of my notes. I just kind of just went off of what I knew. But yeah, that's really all I got for you guys today. And I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I'll definitely see you guys next week for another great episode of Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Peace.